Okay, so get this. We're diving into some pretty wild news in the Laravel world.
Wild's an understatement.
Right. We're talking a stack of articles, even some YouTube videos,
Yeah.
and it's all about this massive investment Laravel just got. Like $57 million massive.
See, that's what I find interesting.
Yeah,
It's not like your typical startup needs cash to stay afloat situation. We're talking about Laravel here. They're already profitable,
true.
got that dedicated community, a rock-solid framework. Makes you wonder, why even bother with an investment this big, you know?
It's not like they were struggling or anything.
Exactly.
And from Taylor Otwell's interviews, it seems like this was a deliberate move, not some last resort.
Oh, absolutely.
I think he even said Accel, the VC firm, practically had to chase him down to get a meeting. They weren't exactly hurting for funding.
Which tells you something, doesn't it? They were choosing their path, not stumbling down one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This wasn't about a quick cash grab. This feels different, like a power move, you know, to take Laravel to a whole other level.
Ambition, not desperation.
100%. And the best part,
What's that?
Ogle's still the captain of this ship. Still CEO, still super involved in the day-to-day. He even reviews code every morning.
Now that's hands-on?
Talk about leading by example.
Especially when you think about it, Laravel now has a team of over 30 people.
Really? That many?
Mm-hmm. And most CEOs at that stage, they're all about the big picture stuff, you know? But Otwell, he's still right there in the code.
That's wild.
That actually reminds me, he said something interesting in one of the videos we saw.
Yeah.
He was talking about how even with this big investment, his day-to-day hasn't really changed all that much.
Wow.
Still starts every morning on GitHub looking at the code.
That's dedication. I feel like that's a big deal for a lot of developers when they hear about an open source project getting a huge investment.
Right, it's that fear, right?
Like, is it going to lose its soul?
Exactly.
Will it become all about profit and forget about the people, you know?
And what I find so fascinating is Otwell seems really aware of that perception.
Oh, yeah, he does.
He addresses it directly, emphasizing his commitment not just to Laravel the framework, but to the open source heart of it all.
He does. It's not just talk either. He's backing it up.
Oh, how so?
Well, he mentioned they've been able to hire dedicated open source engineers thanks to this investment.
That's huge.
Right. And that's already led to some impressive stuff, like Inertia.js 2.0 and that VS Code extension.
All free for the community to use, I might add.
Exactly. It's like they're sending a clear message. We hear you. We value this open source thing and this investment. This is a tool to make it even better, not take away from it.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
So we've established this wasn't some kind of last-minute bailout or a quick cash grab. This investment is about something much bigger. So where's all that money actually going? What's the master plan?
Well, a good chunk of it is dedicated to building out what Otwell calls his long-held dream.
Oh, I've heard about this. This is where Laravel Cloud comes in, right?
He got it.
Didn't he call it the culmination of like a 10-year journey? An idea he's been nurturing since Laravel Forge back in 2014.
That's right. You can hear the passion when he talks about it. Seriously. He even called it the dream platform for deploying and scaling Laravel apps. This isn't just another product launch. This is personal.
And I think that resonates because so many Laravel developers, we've all felt that pain point, you know?
Tell me about it.
It's always been this incredibly powerful tool for building, but deploying, oh boy, that's often a whole other beast.
He's admitted as much.
Has he?
He said that while Laravel excels in development speed, when it comes to ease of deployment, it hasn't quite kept pace with other ecosystems.
That's true. If you look at JavaScript frameworks, they've got that almost drag-and-drop deployment experience down pat.
Streamlined.
So streamlined.
Yeah.
And that's the gap Laravel Cloud aims to close.
It's all about being fully managed, making the deploying, scaling, even monitoring Laravel apps as simple and fast as possible.
And his stated goal for deployment.
Less than a minute.
Wait, are you serious? Less than a minute.
You heard that right. 1 minute, boom, your app is live.
That's insane.
No more agonizing over server configs. No more wrestling with deployment scripts.
Okay, I have to ask, though, because I know what some people might be thinking.
Yeah.
Is this just AWS with a Laravel sticker slapped on it?
I was wondering the same thing. Well, Otwell addressed that head on.
Did he?
He was very clear that this isn't about just reselling existing cloud services and marking up the price. He wants Laravel Cloud to be its own thing.
Makes sense.
A truly compelling product accessible to everyone from, indie devs all the way up to huge companies.
Right, because let's be real, that accessibility, that affordability, Those have always been huge for PHP.
Totally.
It's the language that's helped so many independent developers get their start.
Absolutely. Build incredible things, compete with the big dogs, all that.
And I think Otwell gets that,
Yeah.
understands the responsibility that comes with that kind of legacy.
Oh, for sure.
He said, even with Laravel Cloud, they're still all about offering both self-managed and fully managed options.
Options are good.
Right. It's not about forcing anyone into a box. It's about, here are the choices, pick what makes sense for you, for your budget, for your project.
I like that.
So Forge isn't going anywhere, just to be clear.
Forge is here to stay. Otwell's been very clear about that. Big plans for it, too.
That's good to hear. Because I'll be honest, when I kept hearing him talk about that one-click deployment with Cloud, I did wonder about Forge's future.
Sure, I get it. It's easy to jump to that conclusion.
Yeah, like, is this it for Forge?
But honestly, I think it just shows Otwell's being pragmatic. He knows developers have different priorities.
Of course.
Some people, they need that control, right? And
You're right.
some, they just want it to be simple. He's trying to make both work.
Smart approach. So, besides that crazy fast deployment, any other details about Cloud catch your eye?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
This one feature, server hibernation, this one's big.
Yeah. Oh, right. Remind me what server hibernation means in this context.
So think about your typical hosting setup, right? Servers running 24/7 no matter what.
Always on, just in case.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Even if your site's not getting any traffic, you're still paying for that server to be up and running.
Right. Got to be ready to handle those requests.
But with this server hibernation thing in Laravel Cloud, your server basically goes to sleep when it's not actively doing anything.
Interesting.
It only wakes up when someone actually visits the site.
So it's like, instead of your server just constantly running and costing you money even when nobody's there, it's like hitting that power saving mode.
That's the idea.
Clever.
And while it's hibernating, you're not paying for the resources, which is huge for keeping costs down, especially for like smaller projects.
Oh, totally. Especially if you've got a side hustle going on or your site's traffic is kind of all over the place.
Makes a huge difference.
Can definitely see why they're highlighting that feature. Big selling point for sure.
For sure. Speaking of highlighting features, you remember that live demo Otwell did at Laracon?
Oh, are you kidding? The one where he deployed a whole Laravel app using a laptop that didn't even have PHP installed? How could I forget that?
Talk about a mic drop moment.
Seriously.
That's Laravel Cloud in action, my friend.
It was one of those, wait, did that just happen? moments.
Right.
I think it blew everyone's minds.
And here's the thing, Laravel Cloud, it's not even the only big thing they're cooking up.
Oh, right. That other project, shrouded in mystery.
He just teased it, said all would be revealed at Laracon AU.
Any more clues about what it could be? Because I gotta know.
Still pretty tight-lipped, which honestly, I kind of love. Adds to the excitement.
True.
But from what little he has said, it sounds like a brand new monitoring and observability tool.
Okay, interesting. So something that gives you real-time insight into how your apps are actually performing out there in the wild.
Exactly. But here's the kicker, and Otwell was super specific about this. This tool, it'll work with any Laravel app.
Oh, wow. So even if you're not ready to make the jump to Laravel Cloud just yet, you can still benefit from this new monitoring tool.
That is the idea, my friend. It's not about picking favorites. It's about giving the entire Laravel community better tools.
I like that.
And what I find interesting, Otwell seemed just as hyped about this tool as he was about Laravel Cloud.
Really?
Said he was equally excited, which is saying something.
Wow. To be that excited about a monitoring tool when you've also got something as groundbreaking as Cloud coming out, that's wild.
It means it's not just some little side project, you know? This is a big deal.
It's like he dropped this massive bomb with Laravel Cloud, right?
Yeah.
But then he's like, oh, and by the way, there's another one coming.
And it's just as big.
I'm on the edge of my seat.
Me too. That's what I love about this whole thing, you know? Otwell has this grand vision for Laravel, and he's going for it. Big moves.
He's playing the long game.
Long game for sure, and it feels like he's just getting started.
Okay, but hold on a second. We've talked about Laravel Cloud, this whole game changer for deployment and this mysterious monitoring tool. But what about the bigger picture here?
What do you mean?
Well, we've talked about Laravel and its community, but what about PHP itself?
Ah, I see where you're going with this.
Because, let's be honest, PHP's had, well, it's had a bit of a bumpy ride over the years, right?
It's had its fair share of criticism, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's not always seen as the shiniest, most cutting-edge language out there.
Some of that's probably deserved, honestly.
Maybe, but here's the thing. Laravel's success is PHP's success.
100%.
It proves PHP is still relevant, It's still a powerhouse for building incredible web experiences.
Even in a world obsessed with the newest JavaScript framework.
Exactly. And Otwell even hinted that Laravel might take a more active role in like shaping the future of PHP itself.
Didn't he mention something about more marketing, more messaging around PHP as a whole?
He did.
Imagine that.
Laravel, with the resources they have now, this platform they're building, they could really become a champion for PHP. Show a new generation what it can do.
Show them what they're missing.
Right. It'd be like, what were you doing all this time? PHP has been here all along.
Exactly.
But they'd need to tackle those lingering doubts.
Oh, for sure. Like, how do you convince someone who's already made up their mind that PHP is like yesterday's news?
Right. Exactly.
I think that's where those case studies he mentioned come in. He talked about showing how big companies are successfully using Laravel in production.
Oh, right. Highlighting those under-the-hood stories. Because everyone just assumes these huge companies, they must be using some crazy complex tech stack.
And then you pull back the curtain and it's like, surprise, it's PHP running the show.
And not just any PHP, it's Laravel.
Exactly. Suddenly, it's not just for hobby projects or small websites anymore. It's enterprise grade.
Okay, so let's bring this all home. We've got Laravel, this mature, powerful framework, but with a fresh wave of ambition.
Totally. They're not just resting on their laurels.
They've got this huge investment. They're launching this game-changing platform with Laravel Cloud. This mystery monitoring tool is on the horizon. But it's bigger than all of that, you know. This feels like a defining moment.
I agree.
Not just for Laravel, but for PHP.
It really does feel that way. And what I keep coming back to is Otwell's dedication. He's not just along for the ride.
No, he's driving it.
He's pushing for Laravel and for PHP to be recognized for what they are. Powerful, productive tools that can build anything.
And that's inspiring. He could just be chilling, but he's still deeply involved, still pushing boundaries, still innovating. It's infectious, you know.
It really is.
Makes you wonder what's next.
What if this is just the beginning? What if this investment, this vision for Laravel actually does spark a renaissance in PHP development?
That's a thrilling thought, a PHP renaissance. And with Laravel leading the charge, it doesn't seem so far-fetched. So, to you listening, what will you build with Laravel? Will you be part of this unfolding story? Maybe even help shape the future of PHP? The possibilities, well, they're pretty exciting.